Monkey, you not able to take care of Babu Nebu. You not able to Babu Nebu. Oh, soldier, monkey, calm down. Oh, monkey, calm down. Monkey, calm down. Oh, monkey, calm down. Monkey, calm down to you. Monkey, calm down to you. Monkey, oh, soldier, monkey, calm down to you. Monkey, calm down to you. Monkey, calm down to you. Once upon the time, in the jungle, there lay so many animals and so many trees. During the days, there were no restriction. Anytime, any day, anyone used to corrupt and go outside free in the jungle, yeah. After they realized that everything was good, I said everyone were only after the food. Majority of the people went beyond baboon, and few people went beyond monkey. The headers of the time made a big mistake. After election, they went and made a selection. So the citizen of the jungle was unsatisfied. So they decided using a lot of caretaker. Who love, who care, who has ability, taking care of the monkey. You not able to take care of Babu Nebu. You not able to bust the rata Babu Nebu. Oh, soldier, monkey, calm down. Oh, monkey, calm down. Monkey, calm down. Oh, monkey, calm down. Monkey, calm down to you. Monkey, calm down to you. Monkey, oh, soldier, monkey, calm down to you. Monkey, calm down to you. Monkey, calm down to you. Monkey chop chop chop, monkey cannot get tired. Say monkey chop chop yo, monkey cannot get tired. Monkey chop chop chop, monkey cannot get tired. Monkey chop chop yo, monkey cannot get tired.
Keeping banana and the chopping, stealing is a error, a Russian is a error.
Monkey cannot get tired.
Hey, we wanna live life, have to live a good life. You wanna live life, have to live a better life. We wanna live life, that's only for better life. We wanna live life, that's only for better life. We wanna live life, that's only for better life.
You not able to take care of Babu Nebu. You not able to bust the rata Babu Nebu. Oh, soldier, monkey, calm down. Oh, monkey, calm down. Monkey, calm down. Oh, monkey, calm down. Monkey, calm down to you. Monkey, calm down to you. Monkey. Oh, soldier, monkey, come down to you. Monkey, come down to you. Monkey, come down to you.
As our captain informed you, so the airport in Monrovia is closed because there is no electricity at the moment. They are trying to fix it, but we had some fuel to do a few miles fly around. But until now, we don't have any contact with the airport of Monrovia, so we have decided to go back to Freetown. In Freetown, we will see if we can take some fuel and what the decision will be onwards. So if you have any questions, please do not ask our cabin crew at the moment. From the moment we have news, we will come back to you, because once landed, we need to organize fuel, we need to organize the flight again, so this takes a bit of time. So as soon as we have information, we will come back to you. And I know some of you have tomorrow morning a connecting flight out of Brussels. You may be worried about that also. So from the moment any decision taken in Freetown, we will come back to you with all the information needed. Thank you for that. As our captain informed you, so the airport in Monrovia is closed because there is no electricity at the moment. They are trying to fix it, but we had some fuel to do a few miles fly around. But until now, we don't have any contact with the airport of Monrovia, so we have decided to go back to Freetown. In Freetown, we will see if we can take some fuel and what the decision will be onwards. So if you have any questions, please do not ask our cabin crew at the moment. From the moment we have news, we will come back to you, because once landed, we need to organize fuel, we need to organize the flight again, so this takes a bit of time. So as soon as we have information, we will come back to you. And I know some of you have tomorrow morning a connecting flight out of Brussels. You may be worried about that also. So from the moment any decision taken in Freetown, we will come back to you with all the information needed. Thank you for that.
All right, listening. I apologize for the little bit of technical stuff going on. So let me start by saying I do this podcast every Wednesday at 8:30 Eastern. We're connected on YouTube. We have a Facebook page, and then it airs on my main page as well. And so part of the stream is actually connected to YouTube, and so I have to get that set up on the software. And if that's not set up correctly, we run into audio problems. But listening, this is another episode of Unapologetic. I hope you guys can hear me. If you can hear me, please go ahead. Let's continue to share the videos, invite people here because tonight we have some really really important things to discuss. And I'm gonna to my mic, my microphone. So please let me know if you hear me on the mic. Okay. I want to make sure that you hear me on the mic. Let's go ahead and test that out real quick. Let me see here if you hear me on the mic. So if you can hear me on the mic, just let me know.
Session of Unapologetic. My name is Duke Estrada JJ, and I will be your presenter tonight. Whatever you're doing, please hit like, share the videos, invite your friends, your family, your auntie, then your uncle, then let them know that Duke is life, and we're here to bring the heat. ANC strong, my people.
All right, thank you. So it looks like our mic situation is great a little bit, so that's good. If I'm fitting out, let me know. It's part of the software I'm using. I'm still getting acclimated to it, but we're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on 3 platforms now, right? And then using Restream as well. So thank you. I appreciate your support. Let's continue to share the video. Let's continue to get more people on and let's have a conversation tonight. Again, my name is Dugo, my people, and this is Unapologetic.
Don't touch that dial. This is your boy Duke Estrada JJ. This is another episode of Unapologetic. Hey, y'all, my people. Let's go.
All right, let's go ahead and play a little bit of music here, and then we'll be on.
Yeah, beats.
Yeah, I'm on set ready. Blessings, some blessings, you're calling blessings. Least my blessings can now be touching. I know my level, my man, don't stress me. The Papa bless me, so I'm here to party.
What's up, Tio? I see Quincy here.
I got a part of people dancing.
Yuvetta's in the house. Shout out to all my people on Facebook. And a special shout out to all of you joining us on YouTube. And also all of our people on our main Facebook page. I want to say thank you for following us. Like I said, Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time is Unapologetic. We get together here to talk about issues impacting Liberia and seeing how best we can add our voices to the discourse as well. It's about to go down tonight. My name is Duke Estrada JJ, and my people, this is Unapologetic.
Unapologetic. My name is Duke Estrada JJ, and I will be your presenter tonight. Whatever you're doing, please hit like, share the videos, invite your friends, your family, your auntie, then your uncle, then let them know that Duke is life, and we're here to bring the heat. ANC strong, my people.
ANC strong, my people. So, ladies and gentlemen, I really, again, let me say I am thankful for joining us. So, if you notice, I've actually done a little bit of work, and I tried to set up a little studio. There's still work. I gotta fix this part because this is an LED here that says ABC 2023, and if I blink my hand, I can switch it, and actually it plays according to what I have here. You see, when I switch my hand a little bit, it swap around, but you can't see. I have to adjust it on there. But anyway, listening. So tonight is critical, right? Tonight is important. We're gonna talk about the story of Judas, our weekly episode wherein we connect people who are in the opposition and have actually been working with the government of Liberia to undermine the interests of the people of Liberia. So we'll go back to the Dillon. I want to bring it back to something important that happened today at the Roberts International Airport. And then we'll talk about Liberia, the George Weah administration, and why I think the golden boy, the person known as the golden boy of African soccer, how he murdered an entire nation as well. So tonight we want to bring the funk, we want to bring the heat, we want to be able to, talk loosely here tonight because we're on Unapologetic. Meanwhile, let me go ahead and play a little brief commercial here today, and then we'll get it kicking.
Don't touch that dial. This is your boy Duke Estrada JJ. This is another episode
of unapologetic. Hey, yeah, my people, let's go. Session of unapologetic. My name is Duke Estrada JJ, and I will be your presenter tonight. Whatever you're doing, please hit like, share the videos, invite your friends, your family, your auntie, then your uncle, then.
All right. So today something interesting happened. While we were actually, on social media and going by our usual way of doing things, we noticed that there was a breaking news that came out of the Roberts International Airport. So let me go ahead and play that video. Some of you probably seen it in your inbox, but I want to play the audio for it because I want us to pivot into that.
As our captain informed you, so the airport in Monrovia is closed because there is no electricity at the moment. They are trying to fix it, but we had some fuel to do a few miles fly around. But until now, we don't have any contact with the airport of Monrovia, so we have decided to go back to Freetown. In Freetown, we will see if we can take some fuel and what the decision will be onwards. So if you have any questions, please do not ask our cabin crew at the moment. From the moment we have news, we will come back to you, because once landed, we need to organize fuel, we need to organize the flight again. So this takes a bit of time. So as soon as we have information, we will come back to you. And I know some of you have tomorrow morning a connecting flight out of Brussels. You may be worried about that also. So from the moment any decision taken in Freetown, we will come back to you with all the information needed. Thank you for that.
Wow. So what you just heard tonight is live recording from a situation that occurred hours ago at the Roberts International Airport. Let me just go through the scenario. So imagine being on the plane and on a plane, and you're approaching the airspace, right? The destination, you find the destination. And the plane is supposed to, as part of procedures, make sure to communicating with the crew on ground to make sure that the sky's clear, the runway is clear, and it is safe for landing. But then when you get over an entire country, you see that it is pitch black. There's nothing, no electricity, nothing at all. And then you're on your communication set as a pilot, trying to talk to the people on ground and trying to seek direction as what's happening. Where do we go from here? What happened? I got people on board this plane, emergency, emergency. Nobody responds. This happened in Monrovia, Liberia, a country that was once known as the face of African redemption. Before today, before 2022, where technology is actually now taking over the entire world, economists now have actually adjusted. We see this complete shift in terms of how the world operates. In Liberia, Africa's oldest republic, we have a situation wherein now people on board a flight cannot land in this country because there's no electricity in Liberia. My people, this is disheartening. This is sad. Look, when I heard the thing today, I was so disappointed. I was broken. My spirits in me completely died. I wept for Liberia. But then I thought for a second, how did we get here? You see, every time you see us on social media, you hear us talking about issues impacting the country. Some of you said, oh, you know, the opposition, there's that. You don't even want to work together. You're doing this and the rest of it. And when some of us support Mr. Cummings, who is the cleanest character, the cleanest individual in our entire body of politics, some of you question that. You run after the same people who are responsible today. But you see, I love to break down. I love to have a conversation to educate my people. And that's what I'm going to do today. So once upon a time, there were people already in this nation. This nation that was considered to be the land of freedom, liberty. And then there were people who were from the Americas. And they were enslaved on plantations. And finally, slavery was abolished. And so, through the Greater Liberia movement, Liberia became the go-to destination for bringing free black slaves back to Africa. This was the Mecca of blackness. This was the land that people thought perhaps we finally now have our freedom. We can go and build something that we will keep as part of us. And so on the Mayflower, we have people leaving from the Americas and then going into the Republic of Liberia. And then the historian, I'm not a historian, but I like to go back and forth. Will come with the technicality about the natives and all of that. But the whole intent of this is that this nation called Liberia, that was believed to have been discovered in 1822 and gained independence in 1847, the name freedom, liberty, was supposed to be this land of transformation. And after everything, Liberia gradually worked its way into being a model country that other nations could actually take a look at and say, you know what? We want to be like Liberia. So at one point in time, Liberia was a glory nation. It made Africa proud. It made all of us proud. And if you go back to, the situation in South Africa, and when other revolutionaries, people who were fighting for freedom in other nations, they saw Liberia as the escape route, the country that stood up for African liberation and emancipation. And so we saw glimmers of hope in Liberia. And then the True Week Party came, took over, there were development, and look, there was some kind of confusion in terms of how that leadership operated. But then, some group of people felt disenfranchised, disenchanted individuals. And so our troubles started. And so one bloody day, 1980 of April, Master Sergeant Samuel Doe ushered in the bloodiest coup in Liberia's history. And from that, the PRC regime took over the Republic of Liberia. Since then, Liberia continues to find itself in problem. And we can go into the whole technicality, but we know how that happened. We had Liberians that were executed on the shores of our country in the name of corruption. And then that particular PRC regime went along. And then you had the whole story of the Prince Johnson and the Charles Dillon ushering in 1989 a revolution that became the 1990 civil crisis that lasted about 14 years, where we lost over 250,000 people. That liberation did not solve any problem for Liberia. Because then, those people, before I even come back to Charles Dillon, after they celebrated Samuel Kanyan Doe, and they said native woman born soldier, and hailed Doe for taking down the True Week Party, and those old gods that represented things that those people who were the tribal people in our country said were not in the interest of them. Our people took to the streets of Monrovia and celebrated the coup. The same people in 1989 took to the streets of Monrovia, coming down Crown Hill, chanting songs and saying, "Monkey, calm down," referring to Doe as the monkey, the same man that they hailed for ushering in the revolution in Liberia. And that day, when the BBC played its famous intro, Focus on Africa, and it was announced that through Boutwell, two individuals, Charles Tiller, and with some trained fighters that have been trained in Libya, had entered the Republic of Liberia to start a civil war. Something they said to liberate the Liberian people from Samuel Doe and all that he had done. Doe did some really terrible things in that country. And I don't want to go into the depths of it. But then Charles Tiller came in and promised to change the lives of the Liberian people. So we know how the story went. Things never really settled. We had the interim government. They managed to take Samuel Doe up. But things never went back to what it used to be. And so I remember in 1997, 96, part of my memory. And I was somewhere on 9th Street Sinker, along that route. And I think we followed the crowd up to the Monrovia City Corporation. And I still remember clearly the chants. The people in Liberia said, "You kill my ma, you kill my pa, I will vote for you." Oh yes, the same people who chanted "Native woman born soldier" to Samuel Doe, and they came into the streets of Monrovia and they said, "Monkey, calm down." Then they welcome in Charles Tiller. Those people then overwhelmingly voted for Charles Tiller. And they said in the streets of Monrovia, I remember the Radio Monrovia crew parading the streets and the huge crowd of people, Liberians, singing. The song was hot that day. "You kill my man, Charles Tiller kill my man, he killed my pa. We will vote for him." And, many people thought perhaps the Liberian people have not understood what has happened in that country for 14 years. And other people say, "You know what, this man been causing problem in the country. Let's just give him the presidency and see how Charles Tiller will be able to change this country here." The man suffered for it, is said. Liberians and the habits of rewarding bad people, using the presidency as their way of giving gifts to evil people. Liberians got in the street. Now they say, I was there and I remember as young as I was, and listening to the chants, "You kill my ma, you kill my pa, I will vote for you." They said it in the streets of Monrovia. That chant I followed from, 9th Street Sinker going on to the Monrovia City Corporation, coming up towards St. Patrick's. Oh yes, it re-echoed. Liberians were convinced at that time. I don't care what anybody told them. They were going to vote for Charles Tiller. "You kill my ma, you kill my pa, I will vote for you."
Don't touch that dial. This is your boy Duke Estrada JJ. Don't touch that dial. This is your boy.
You kill my man, you vote for you.
Another episode of Unapologetic. Hey, yeah, my people. Let's go.
This is the story of Liberia. They went and they elected Charles Tiller as president. And I want to bring this back because I want some of you to listen. I remember that day when the inauguration went on. I still remember one thing that I have is this thing here. I remember a lot. I climbed on the low fence. At that time, we lived at Hotel Africa at the Riverview area. And there was a fence. It was one of those big, large buildings that apparently one of the Doe people actually owned at that time, but they didn't finish that property. And so I climbed on that fence. And I had a little solo radio, right, that my dad bought for me because I used to like listening to Unshackled, EOW. And I remember the entire inauguration. And, and I sat as a young man, child. And I thought perhaps, well, maybe this is normal day again in my mind. Maybe the election of Charles Tiller, inauguration of Charles Tiller, we've now returned to good times in Liberia. Well, it didn't work. When Charles Tiller came, Charles Tiller started going after members of the opposition. I remember clearly as a child coming from CWA, I walked into, our home with the anti-terrorist unit, turning everything upside down, looking for my father. At that same time, they went to took about 9 people there, ransacked the place. They were after opposition. They had a list of members of the opposition who wanted to execute. Some of us are not new to Liberia's story. When we sit, we talk, we look at some of these people and laugh at them. Charles Taylor started the political witch hunt, going after people in the opposition. Those who supported the National Patriotic Party, the MPFL, the ones that were part of the ATU, the anti-terrorist unit, Dillon forces, all of those little groups, the SODs, the more Jibas and allies, they felt that they had control of Liberia. And people kept complaining that trouble was coming. The one Charles Taylor, and those who were around Charles Taylor, with all the generals he had, thought that Charles Taylor had this kind of military prowess that nobody would try this man. He's untouchable. You know, Charles Taylor radio station, when the people were complaining about the suffering, the hunger in Liberia, some of you can remember just listening to the details. I remember clearly. I used to like my low solo radio and stuff, so I was listening. The radio station that Charles Taylor had at that time, when the people are talking on the airways and all this thing, they're talking about the hardship in the country, they will play this song that said, we're starting all over again. It will be rough. As the counter now, that they were starting over. Hey, that's what the song said. And you know, that's when the song Sweet Sweet Kasawa Lee came. I let you know today, y'all pay attention. Not for good alone. That song, you know, that song told a story. It told a story of the pain and suffering of the Liberian people during the Taylor regime. And we listen to it. I want you listening. So, musicians like James Dopo and others started using music to express the frustration in the country. Liberians started to sing that song, and the pro-Taylor radio station would say, we're starting all over again. That is a song they used to play as counter. I remember, clearly speaking, when Taylor was actually falling in the path of destruction, those who were loyalists to Charles Taylor refused to listen to the cries of the people. They refused to listen to the voices of the people. They thought perhaps that Taylor was this untouchable piece. Kiss FM, yes. Oh, yes. See, some of you will follow because we're talking sense. They never listened. They became brutal. You know, the ATU people, the SOD people, they felt that they had control. They had authority in the country. The man that jailed me one time as young as I came from CW in my ROT teacher. Helmut Peters know this story. You know? You know, we don't say much. At the Hotel Africa depot there. Charles Taylor, with all the cries that were coming from the Liberian people, after they said, you kill my mind, you kill my power, and vote, I will vote for you. They didn't listen. And mind you, the likes of Samuel Jackson, they were in charge of Taylor's economic policy. The general notes, everything was tanking. Nothing was working in Taylor's economy. Taylor entrusted his whole financial sector in the hands of people like Samuel Jackson. The Samuel Jackson that y'all see here today. The ones that are telling you guys and making excuses for George Weah, Samuel Jackson, them. They destroyed that economy, looted that economy. So he went and fell off with Charles Taylor. My people continue to warn Charles Taylor. And Charles Taylor didn't notice. I mean, he didn't listen. Then sanctions came on the country. Hey, yeah. And the Liberian people continued to suffer even more. And it became so bad that people were left with no alternative to start rebelling against that government. But you know, again, Liberians did not pay attention to what started the 1989-1990 Civil War. Sorry about that. I will try to something. I want to crack it a little bit. Just let me know if it keeps giving a problem again. Liberians did not listen. They refused to listen when people were actually Tillon and his people refused to listen. But you know, the last time when I talked, I told you guys to look for a book called The Bottom Billions. The Bottom Billion tells you about poor countries like Liberia and how they're susceptible to violence, civil war. Because unemployment, when you have too many young people in the society, there's no job, there's nothing to look for, government corrupt, people getting poorer by the day, economic issues, it turns into something because you have a vulnerable group of people now who can be easily manipulated to start a civil conflict. Charles Dillon and his people did not listen. They thought they were all big and bad. And so one day, we woke up. Yes, his son, Chucky Tiller, beating and executing people across that country. And we heard there was war again in Liberia. People thought that Tiller had control of the situation, but the international community, let me tell you about the international community. They will watch. They will play diplomacy. But when the time comes, they will take action and it will get you to the point wherein it's two things. You know, today Charles Tiller managed to get away while he's in the head. But had Charles Tiller not listening, like Samuel Doe, he would have probably been a victim of that war that came in 2003. Moving on from Charles Tiller, and then we had the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf period and all of that stuff debilitated, and now we're in George Weah. Today, under this government, we see the repeat of all of those things that happened during the Tiller regime. The same bunch of loyalists defending George Weah, coming up and making excuses for bad leadership. But yet again, though, before we got here, the Liberian people made the same mistake. The same way they look at Charles Tiller and they say, you killed my mom, you killed my pa. When people told them that George Weah was not suitable, it was a danger to elect a man like George Weah as president. They didn't listen again. They bought into the BS message of change for hope, or hope for change, whatever they call it. They said that we are we want. You can tell anything we want that we are we want. The man been here. That his time, let's give it to the boy. Like this thing about rewarding leadership to people because they think that the time we have not learned. Every day we want to give leadership position to people because we think it is the time. Instead of listening or looking at how these people are going to create real transformation in the lives of our people, our children. We don't listen. We got on there again and running around and talking all kinds of rubbish and saying all sorts of things. They were adamant. They were convinced. They were hooked on. They were so obsessed with this George Weah man, just like they were obsessed with Charles Tiller, the Samuel Doe, and all of the other people before. Making the same mistakes and not paying attention to the dangers that we were bringing in our communities in leadership. When we lectured them about the danger of electing a man like George Weah, some of them thought that we were being negative. But what we were actually trying to say is everything that you see today, connecting it to the thing that happened at the Roberts International Airport. You see, Liberia was a nation that was already faced with many challenges. And the people in that country are people that needed leadership that inspired them to be better. What we are represented was the norm that we're accustomed to. That nonchalant, no care, lazy attitude, no sensible way of doing things, that complacency. We say, aha, this is something we don't need because it is going to reignite that belief and make people think that these things are acceptable. This is the way. George Weah gave us proofs. This started with an attack on education that they said, oh, that boy people, that boy will eat. Then they came and told you that book was unimportant. Some of you went and you cheer for it. Yeah. All the warning signs we had. When we told you that this man was not in the interest, it was not in the interest of the country to elect George Weah, some of you came after. Imagine George Weah telling you that education was unimportant, and some of you cheer that man. Liberians, and the obsession with individuals versus looking at issues and how decision making is going to transform their life, how this person can actually create this economic shift for them. And we say George Weah was a potential, he was a narcissist and a dictator in the making. And that electing George Weah was going to take us back to the same things that I told you about during the Charles Taylor days. We had a lot of generals, those MPF generals around, those structures, individuals, we were just waiting for the opportunities. Our people made the same mistake, and they elected this man. And going on to the final year of the everything that we have said about George Weah became a reality. And even though that this man continues to prove that we were right, there were some remnants and individuals who still think that it is okay. What happened today at the Roberts International Airport is further proof that Liberia is now a decaying society. And we're at the final stage of where troubled nations like Liberia ends up in the territory that nobody wants to go in. Let me tell you something. When I hear people, all the people here the tired with war, I laugh. You know, nobody's got control on whether they're tired with war. The conditions can create that ripple effect. Exploitation. People with a different decision making. You think people in Guinea were talking about coup d'etat? In other parts of the world that you hear all these things happening, you think they felt that, oh, everything going on, this thing's not going to happen? Liberia is no exception. And those economies are way better than the Liberian economy. We have managed to cook up a situation wherein if we're not careful, we might wake up one day. I'm not wishing violence on nobody or even suggesting this should happen. But if we're not mindful, we might wake up one of these days and hear that famous sign from the British Broadcasting Corporation. Because everything that's happening in that country sets the stage for destruction, for disruption. Because we have increase in violence. We have our young population now that they label as Zokos, our disadvantaged brothers, disadvantaged youth, because it's on the rise. Those are people who you have to be mindful because those are the ones that can be easily recruited to destabilize an entire nation. And some of you just don't get it. We settled for incompetence, ineptitude. And today, that ineptitude, our obsession with individuals and sports of soccer, look at the trade-offs we've created, wherein we've put the lives of 5 million people in danger. And you know, some of us in the diaspora who support George Weah, or some of us who say, oh, I ain't let the politics like bring people on and stuff. You know, those things end up following us. As in the case, there were people on that flight today. There were people on that flight today who were, you know, not into the usual Liberian politics. They probably did not give credence to a lot of the things that happen on social media. But God forbid today they became impacted. Ineptitude, incompetence, poor leadership breeds disaster. Today was further proof that Liberia is a decaying society. And we're at the point wherein, if we're not careful, we're going to see something that we thought would not happen in that country. Let me take a pause and take this call here real quick. Peter, how are you?
I'm doing good, Duke. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, my brother. As always, man, trying to come out here and see how best we can, have a conversation about people. What's going on with you?
So, first of all, thanks for doing the show again, and thanks for taking my call about our country and having this conversation going on about what's going on in Liberia. And this is what democracy is. No one's no. There is no person entitled to our country. There is no entitlement. In a democratic country, it's all about ideas, right? It's a marketplace of ideas, and may the best ideas win. I want to go back quickly to what you were saying. So you chronicle Liberia's history and how it was supposed to be the beacon of Africa, and we're not. Okay, to this point, we're not. And I want to talk about why we are there, right? So what's going on in Liberia is not unique to Liberia. And as I listened to you talk, I started to think of World War One, right? What caused the war, World War One? There's a big war. Every country in the world was part of this war, okay? And it all started from a small country called Serbia, right? But before Serbia, big nations were able to go into small nations and bully them. They call that imperialism. They'll go in, if you have resources to want, they'll just take over. There's a reason why the League of Nations was formed, because that was not sustainable. You cannot go on bullying people because you have the power to. So when we speak like we do with passion about our country and about our loved ones, about our family, our children, our moms, our sisters, and these people say things like, "Who knows you? You're not ain't nothing about it like real politics." That is bullying. You're trying to shut people up. You're a conversation terrorist. This is what it leads to. So I hear my brother Victor Yankin, right, on his live today, and he's angry. Why is Victor so angry? Victor's angry because just last year, the middle of the year, his family was in Liberia. Me too. I was just on the plane to Liberia last week, not a long time ago, and I'm like, I gotta bring my son here, and my family, my mom. What happens if they were on that plane and the plane was actually landing, not before it landed, while we were actually landing and the lights went out? So what caused that? Well, incompetence caused that. But when you have bullies that kills conversations, right? Conversations terrorists that make them feel like they're entitled to lead us. And they don't have to be competent because everyone knows them. They're the UP party, the mighty UP, or they're CDC, or they're True Wig, whatever they are. And they didn't have to compete for their positions, the jobs they have. And competency was not what they were held to. You get whatever you get. And then people's lives are put in danger. So Victor is now pissed because that shit hit close to home. It's unapologetic, so I'm gonna say shit.
Yo, say it. That's what unapologetic is all about. Say it.
So it hit close to home. To me, now he understands his empathy. What if my mom was on that plane? My son was on that plane, Victor's film. Yo, we will come after you guys. Well, crazy is this stuff has happened to a lot of people. What happens to all the boys and girls and the people in Liberia who dreams are deferred because you got government officials wasting money instead of building infrastructure and architecture to bring in businesses so they can get jobs? They can't. They gotta go bend over and get they gotta sleep with government officials for a little bit of money or for scholarships. What happened to their lives? Forget the plane crashing and killing your family member. I know what I would do if my thing was on that plane. Okay, and Victor spoke to that. I don't even want to go there right now. But I'm saying you should have empathy for the other people who are living there now. Right now. Go around Monrovia, look at these kids. Everyone's on motorcycle. The Pimpin' Boys. They're making like meager money. They're making nothing. You got police officers that have turned into professional extortionists and panhandlers on the streets and just extorting money from caddies and motorcycle boys because they too got to feed their family. But why is that happening? Because of incompetence. Why is incompetence happening? Because competency is not being allowed to even come on the table because of these conversations terrorists that think they're entitled to leadership in our country. They think they're entitled to it. They don't have to compete with ideas. They don't have to compete with competence. They don't have to show anything. Who know you? Who are you? That's the Henry Carson. The dude was bragging about breaking the story, what happened on the plane. When other people had it, Martin had, anyone who had a social media got that video.
Yeah.
You just didn't get it. So what I'm saying is, these people are the problem. We all looking at this one event like what happened. No, it's bigger than that. It's about bullying. And it's not unique to Liberia. It's happened and will happen over and over and over again. That's what happened that's how the Catholic Church used to be. It had to get broken up because of that. Okay? And this goes way back. You can't bully people. This is why we talk like we talk. No nation is going to improve if you have these conversation terrorists and bullies. It's my way or the highway. We're entitled to leadership. We don't have to be competent. We don't have to show any competence. Okay? George Weah is getting away with what he's getting away with because he's a bully. Dude, they killed auditors.
Yeah.
And we say nothing.
Say nothing.
Right? It goes on like he's carrying on like it's no big deal. He's still playing soccer after taking people's loved ones away from them. We act like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
There are rapes going on. Our girls are getting raped. They're getting murdered. And no one's saying nothing. We're talking about the plane. The plane is it's just symptomatic of what's going on in Liberia right now. It's just a symbol. It's another knee jerk. Oh, look what happened to the plane. Yeah, if that happened to my family, I am offing a few people. I'm telling you, it will be international news and they'll be docking.
You're unapologetic. Go ahead.
I'm sick of it. I'm telling you right now, what Victor said, enough said. There's going to be no talking about it. Kill my son, kill my wife, kill my daughter, kill my mom, and you'll see what happens. These people are bullies, man. They're bullies. They think they're entitled. Look at Dillon. Okay? I'm one of the people who supported him. I sent money to people who collected money for him so that I thought he was going to be better. This man is trying to eliminate competition by telling Liberians who were born, raised, never seen bullying Liberia, very Liberia. You tell me I'm not Liberian.
Entitlement. People like him get to tell people that they're not a Liberian. Imagine. People like him. People like him. Who the hell are you? Who the hell are you?
Oh, you're adjusting your status someplace else, so you're not Liberian. Go F yourself. Are you kidding me? Who are you? You're not Liberian. Entitlement. These people believe they can bully other people because of the job they hold. Listen, George Weah and the rest of those people, and all these people, the UP, the rest of them, this is why I'm so passionate. This is why we're so passionate against these idiots. Because of how they carry themselves. If it was just a competition of ideas, we would be talking about ideas. But no, they're entitled. They think they can talk down to people. They think they can control them. So when those type of people get in position where they get to make decisions that affect the lives of other people, they don't care.
Yep.
It's so different than what UP has done. They were there for 12 years and they bullied our people. This is what ushered in George Weah. This is why the people overwhelmingly voted for George Weah. It's not because they thought he was competent, because these idiots bullied our people. Oh, I got a degree in this. I'm a policy maker, and you don't know policy. What the hell policy you got? You're in the poorest country in the world. You ran the worst ran economy. What are you bragging about? Who are you measuring yourself against? What did you win? What did you compete and won? The Ellen people. That's why people hate education now, because these fake degree holders who are trying to now come back to power. They sign an agreement, and now they want to back out of the agreement by bullying the country with their handful of people.
Yep.
Okay? This all plays in. Okay? They're killing These rogues that you got called UP, they are who they are. They're not like us. We're not entitled. We don't feel entitled. We think you should win because of ideas if you have the best ideas. I am sick of it. They're putting people's lives at peril. Okay, that's why we're so passionate about that. I don't have to wait for a plane to crash to understand what's going on. I'm on the ground in Liberia. I see what's going on. My family is there. My loved ones are there. Okay, I see the dreams defer. I see bright kids. Dreams getting squashed because Joshua wants to build a sporting complex, and he calls it a park that only adults go to the play at, and it's closed 99% of the time. You know, when this man goes there and play, like he's a big old kid, and no one says something because why? The competition turns. You dare open your mouth, and will kill you. Will take everything away from you. So now people are bullied into silence. I started talking about World War I because this is not unique to Liberia. You cannot let bullies stand. People need to say more. They need to speak up, especially those of us who can. This is why we speak up. Okay? This is not just about this plane. Duke, you could have been on that plane. Your son could have been on that plane.
Yeah.
My son could have been on that plane. What happens then? Oh, we're sorry. We're going to look into it fine. You're not looking into anything because you suck at the job. You're not good enough to lead. But you didn't allow other competent people to compete because you're a conversation terrorist, and you're a terrorist period because you're murdering people who are under expose your incompetence. This is bigger than just what happened today. What happened today is just a symptom of what's going on in Liberia. Okay? So people who don't have empathy, you don't put yourself in other people's shoes. You let this stuff go on. Oh, I don't partake in politics. You don't partake in politics, then you're enabling it to continue.
Yep.
What happened today is horrible, beyond reprehensible. We cannot sit and let this slide or flow. We can't. What happens when it happens to your family tomorrow? Then what? They're crying, oh, we're sorry. The president show up. The president better not show up. Or he better show up in a bulletproof bubble for the rest of my life or his life. Because this is crazy what's happening. And these people think people's lives are expendable. They think their lives are better. They're bullies. Like the Euros of the world who brought guns and helped kill 250,000 people, loved ones. And now you're carrying on, and you went to the banks and took money out, and you took that money and hid it and built properties and give it to your children. Now they own hotels, they own restaurants and real estate properties. And now you're over here telling a good man like Cummings, oh, you finger document and you're a criminal and you're behind all that. When you have blood money on your hand, your children are carrying on like you guys earned something. It is despicable. It's disgusting. We're going to stand up to you, and we're going to stand up in the most vigorous way. Yo, you woke a sleeping giant. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Those bullets that you shot out to our people and used, and the money that you took and built properties, and now you're bragging about, you will eat them, or you're going to have to eliminate some of us. Thank you so much, Duke. I just wanted to say those things. And thanks for what you're doing. Let's keep going.
Peter, thank you. That deserves an applause. And this is why we have Unapologetic, because we want to create a free space wherein people are not censored when they're speaking about issues impacting Liberia. Because I understand if everything that's happening in the country doesn't upset you, it does not create something in you that have to be loud enough to send a message, then you are not experiencing or feeling it the way in which it should be felt. So on Apologetic, we have no filters. We want people to speak just how they would speak. In any case, this is what free speech is, and that's how we're gonna do it. Look, an applause for Pete. An applause. Exactly what he said. This is more than just people getting on board a plane and showing up and fuel not available, the lights are not on. At least you not here, we'll come back and try again. No. It's about the danger. And something Peter said, and I'm glad he brought it up, is that you've got to start looking at the mindset of our people and looking into the eyes of our people. So let's think. And my people, Liberians, think for a second. 250,000 people were slaughtered in that country. No justice. We celebrated the execution of 15 men. Well, let me not get it right, but 13 cabinet ministers, whatever it is, we celebrated the execution of people in that country. Auditors, let me not just use auditors. A young professional lady called Gifty Loma, educated, slaughtered in the Republic of Liberia. Nobody had the courage to say enough is enough. Odell Sherman, no justice. Matthew Innes, no justice. Princess Cooper, no justice. Liberia is an effigy of blood, the bloodstains of Liberians. And the sickening part of this is that we've sat there and we've done nothing about it because everybody feels that this has nothing to do with me, that the people business. You see, we go about our business when other people are hurting. But we think that it doesn't matter to us because we are not experiencing that. We are bringing that problem to our very own doorsteps. When we develop a nonchalant attitude about things that are happening to other people, and we think because we're not experiencing that grief, and so we don't care. Trust me, we are gradually walking it to our doorsteps. When we hear about a flight showing up in the Republic of Liberia, no electricity, the airport's dark, and people can't land, people say, well, let them go find somewhere else and stuff. And we think that it doesn't matter. Trust me, we're inviting it to our doorsteps. When Charles Dillon was actually suffering the Liberian people, when a lot of murders and attacks, the anti-terrorist unit, the SODs, and all of these militant groups, were harming the Liberian people. Nobody stood up. And everybody felt that, you know what? It's none of my business. Oh, yes. They said it's none of my business. Let me know if it's still crackling again, please. We develop this thing wherein we don't care about the plights of other people because we think it is not happening to our families. We saw what happened in 1989 when the Civil War came. Some people thought that it was only for certain people. 250,000 people lost their life. And still we develop this attitude, this nonchalant attitude about things as if we don't care. The second part about it, some of us who should know better, we see the likes of Henry Costa breaking news and pretending. And we go ahead and we share these links and we pretend as if they're breaking something to us. But mind you, these are the same people that are aiding the Weah administration. The likes of Henry Costa are responsible for the dictatorship that we see in Liberia today. Individuals like Dillon, they're responsible for the leadership failure that we see in the Republic of Liberia today. They have financially benefited from the Weah administration. They have profited from the Weah administration. Those who are claiming to be the ones that are breaking news around the place, they have been partners. We sat here. Henry Costa and the Dillon took down the CPP, maligned the character of Alexander Cummings. Today, they are coming to you to tell you and laugh at the situation at the Roberts International Airport and pretending as if they have nothing to do with it. These were the same people who sold the June 7 protest. These are the same people who accept calls from George Weah and pretend as if everything is okay. They're the same ones that will be inviting, that will be receiving invitation to attend an Independence Day celebration in Liberia at the expense of the Liberian people. Can't you see? Can't you see? How long are we going to sit there and pretend as if some of these things are not happening before our very own eyes? Hypocrisy, deception, a nonchalant attitude leads to destruction, leads to the loss of lives. People are hurting in that country. Young people are unemployed in that country. The justice system is being used as a comedy, a system of comedy skits. The laws that should be protecting the interests of the Liberian people are being used to go after people. They have politicized the entire judicial system. We sit there and we see other Liberians being harmed by destructive leadership. And some of the people that we look up to, we see them working for the government, aiding the government, benefiting from the government. But we remain mute on these things. And then we say that we want change in that country. We sit down and we complain about things, but then we celebrate the same people. Some of us in the opposition, you were the same one saying that you wanted to be politically mature. You started celebrating the part. When some of us took a stance and said, you know what? It is ridiculous. Today, you are the same ones on social media complaining about the issues at the Roberts International Airport. Hypocrisy. You see, when we criticize the construction of the park, it's not because we didn't think that Liberia deserves something of beauty. Or we didn't think that young people need to play in park and on basketball courts and nice area to improve the game. No. We felt there were more important issues that needed to be addressed. And that somehow the government that you support today was missing the mark on those issues. Healthcare, security. We have gone so much to the bottom of destruction, wherein now we don't even have fuel in the generators at an international airport and risking the lives of other people, foreign nationals, Liberians in an airspace. Amen. Hey, my people. The disappointing part, Syria alone was nowhere close to Liberia. Liberia, now, planes now have to reroute to Sierra Leone because they have electricity. Where is the change? Where is the change? Where is the change and this hope that was promised the Liberian people? Where is the change and the hope that George Weah and others promised the Liberian people? Where? Where is this change? How are this different from all of the other people they've criticized? Where is this change? Please let us know. Please let us know. Where is the change that George Weah and CDCN promised the Liberian people? Where, my people? We sit down and we ignore these things, and then when something happens, some kind of tragedy happens, we pretend, we change all of our profile pictures. And then after 48 hours, we go by our business. And then poor families are left with the grief, the hurt. We have developed this kind of resistance to empathy to the point where we care no more. And in the process, we continue to curse an entire nation. And my people, where is Liberia heading? Where? Let's go ahead and come back again. Let me go ahead for some of you who just joined us. I want to go ahead and play the audio, the clip, so you can listen to exactly why we're here today. I want you to listen to chilling details. Chilling details that happen in Liberia. A flight in Liberia. Listening to the conversation.
As our captain informed you, so because there is no electricity at the moment. They are trying to fix it. But we had some fuel to do a few miles fly around. But until now, we don't have any contact with the airport of Monrovia. So we have decided to go back to Freetown. In Freetown, we will see if we can take some fuel and what the decision will be onwards. So if you have any questions, please do not ask our cabin crew at the moment. From the moment we have news, we will come back to you, because once landed, we need to organize fuel, we need to organize the flight again. So this takes a bit of time. So as soon as we have information, we will come back to you. And I know some of you have tomorrow morning a connecting flight out of Brussels. You may be worried about that also. So from the moment any decision taken in Freetown, we will come back to you with all the information needed. Thank you for that.
This is the crew on the plane telling you that they cannot land because there's no fuel. The light is actually off. No contact to Monrovia. I want you to hear that. Here is the potential danger. And some of you think that it's okay. Amen. Some of you think that it is okay. The lady is saying there is no contact to Monrovia, meaning that the communication people who are supposed to be there as the ground crew to direct these people to safety. You know what's going to happen? This thing will have to be reported to the aviation authorities, because they themselves could face major lawsuits. Airlines are coming into an international airport. There's no electricity. Jesus Christ. No contact with people in Monrovia. All of these people are in a plane, well, waiting to land. No light, no electricity, nobody's communicating. And they had to revert to go to Sierra Leone. Jesus Christ. This is what some of you have actually put us in. This is the destruction that you've actually caused that country. Many of you will sit down and defend a government, the CDC administration. This is the destruction that you've actually created in that country. This is what you've done to the Liberian people. This is what you have done to the Liberian people. Sickening, disturbing, hurtful, weak, disappointing. Our people sit there and allow this government to continue to not only embarrass the country, but endanger other Liberians and foreign nationals. And some of you will come on social media with pictures justifying other places that you've had blackout. Really? Really? Today should give you more reason why you should stand up. Why Liberia desperately need the presidency of Mr. Cummings. Because we have tried piss poor leadership. We have tried too many individuals who have not delivered on the promises. The country is slipping into a disastrous episode. Nothing's working in the country. Lives are being put at risk. Jesus Christ of Nazareth. When are we going to get the memo? When? When are we going to say enough is enough? When are we going to stand up for the Liberian people? At what point in time do we say that we're tired with everything that we see happening in that country? I want you to think about the clip that you just saw. And what I want you to think is, these are the kind of audios that surface after disaster happened. And think about it. What if your kids, your family, even you were on that flight, and God forbid, something else happens? You think about the country Liberia. People will only say certain things for a few days and they walk away. Your families now are left with the pain, the heartache. We have traded the sanctity, the sanity of our country, the decency, our values, our care for humanity. We have traded it for a soccer star, a golden boy who does not even care about the interests of his people. We have destroyed our entire country because of our obsession with greed, our obsession with individuals, our obsession with soccer, our obsession with people who don't give a damn about us. We have destroyed an entire nation because we don't care about our own values, because we don't care about anybody else. All we think about is ourselves. Nothing else matters. We celebrate parks as if this is all that we have to live for. While we're celebrating parks and taking pictures, we don't care about the child in JFK that does not have medication or the money to pay. While we celebrate parks, we don't care about the rights in that country. While we celebrate parks, we don't care about people's lives that have been put at risk. Amen. We celebrate all the mediocre things, but we don't care about the trade-offs. What we're doing to destroy an entire nation. We settled for soccer, individual association ties, our greed, our obsession. We settled for the bare minimum. We destroy our country. We put our people's lives at risk. Hey, my people. Hey, my people. Is this what we call being patriotic? Is this what we mean by being a Liberian, that we're proud Liberians? Is this the Liberia rising stuff that they talk about? This is Liberia? Is this really Liberia? Destruction, no care, disrespect for human lives. Don't give a damn about our people. Jesus Christ of Nazareth. What is wrong with our country? What is wrong with our people? Liberia, can you wake up? Liberia, can you listen to us? Liberians, can you rise up? Liberians, can you listen to us? Put aside your obsession with politicians. Put aside your obsession with individuals and the worshiping, the loyalists, and all of the stuff. Put your country first. Put your country first. We sat down in the country wherein we witnessed the life of a promising young man in Queensy B come to an end. And many of you, it doesn't hurt you. The talent that we've actually lost in that country because of ineptitude, no structure, no system. We walk as if it is okay. We see our people hurting and dying, and we walk as if it is okay. We see our people broken, and we continue to walk as if it is okay. What is wrong with Liberians? What is wrong with our people? What is wrong with our people? I am really confused. I am absolutely confused. I am trying to understand what is wrong with our people. Why are we so cruel to each other? Why do we continue to allow people to abuse us? Why, Liberians? Why? 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 Why do we continue to settle for the less? Why do we continue to ignore the plight of the ordinary Liberians? Why? Why? This is beyond embarrassing. This is beyond embarrassing. This is hurtful. This is sickening. This is pure evil. This is how we invite destruction upon an entire nation because of greed. We have lost our values. We have traded our values for obsession with individuals. We have traded our values for obsession with people who don't care about us. We became obsessed with this so-called African legend, this so-called golden boy. And we felt that the entire country, the lives of 5 million people, were less of an importance than giving leadership to somebody who we knew had nothing to give that country. Absolutely embarrassing. And the second part is there are people in the opposition, like the likes of Dillon and the Henry Costa, who have been key contributors to the destruction of the Republic of Liberia. These elements have sat there and witnessed the takedown of an entire nation because they have profited from this government. Today they pretend, they act as if they have issues with what's going on at Roberts International Airport. But behind closed doors, they are writing checks or cashing in checks that have been given to them by a corrupt administration that does not care about the interests of the Liberian people. This is exactly what the story of Judas is. It's about individuals amongst us who are betraying the Liberian people. The story of Judas is about those in the opposition, the likes of Dillon, and all of these people who have traded values and traded the interests of Liberian people to cash in, to create paydays for themselves. Because in the mind they say we can't care ourselves for the Liberian people because you talk for the Liberian people at the end of the day, they will let you down. So we have to take our own and go. These are the people that are telling you today that they have issues with what transpired at the Roberts International Airport. The so-called golden boy of African soccer does not care about the Liberian people. George Weah never cared about the Liberian people. George Weah is an absolute narcissist. George Weah has always benefited from the Liberian people. He didn't do anything free for the Liberian people. George Weah and others sat there and collected money from FIFA using sports in that country. Those logos that were used on the Liberian jerseys, those things were not free. There were monies given to the Liberian Football Association, the African Cup of Nations in 1996. They participated, they benefited from those things. George Weah have always been smart about using the interests of the Liberian people for his gains. He's a narcissist. This man was never in the interest of the people. Never. It is one of the greatest political schemes that I've seen in my entire life. A political scheme. George Weah lied to the Liberian people. And we fell for it. But you know what, though? We have to start holding our people accountable as well. We keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. We look at door, we say, Nathan Woman Bonsoya. Then when we got there, we turn around, we say, Monkey, calm down. We welcome Charles Stiller. Then we went there, we say, you kill my mind, you kill my power, I will vote for you. The same people took to the streets of Monrovia in 2003 and said, you know, with Tyler Taylor, take him away from us. Liberians. Where are we heading? Where are we heading? Giving our country to people who do not care about us. Giving our resources to people who do not care about us. Giving an entire nation, a promising country with so much wealth, with so much depth, with so much values to individuals who do not care about you. It is not okay. We need real change in that country. I know some of you give up. I know some of you get frustrated. I know some of you say the Liberian people didn't learn a lesson yet. But let's think, don't give in. Because I'm telling you, there's a greater section of the population that we need to engage. And our message need to speak to them. We have to talk to our people heart to heart. We have to speak to young people heart to heart in that country. They make up a greater majority of the voting population. They are the silent voters. Do you know that almost 1 million people register in that country and do not show up to election to vote? Do you also know there will be more than 1 million new voters and young people that will be eligible to vote in that country? You have 2 million sample size in terms of voters that either do not vote or will be eligible to vote in 2023. We cannot give up. We must continue to knock on those pavements, pound the pavements, knock on the doors, speak to these young people, talk to them, speak to our people in your dialects, in your language, whatever you speak. Talk to the Liberian people, but be honest in saying it. We must tell our story to the Liberian people, heart to heart. We don't hate George Weah. We don't hate you. We dislike what you've done. And we know that you're not in the interest of the Liberian people. We know that you've done nothing to give our people any ounce of change. My people, I want you to listen. And I like to make my podcast 1 hour, not so long, so people can be on here. But let me go back again on this episode of the Story of Judas. And I started with you. If you just joined, go back when I get on this off this live and you listening to the beginning. We started on the wrong footing in that country. We never got justice for 200,000 people or 250,000 people that were executed in that country. We witnessed our fellow men tied to a light pole and executed for corruption. Today, the corruption is even worse. Mind you, some of the people who orchestrated the killings of those Liberians on the beach for corruption became more corrupt. Today, they are advisors to Charles Taylor. Today, they're still in our politics. Samuel Jackson, people. Or Samuel Jackson, who aided Samuel Doe. Or Samuel Jackson, who was part of the Taylor government and destroyed Taylor's economy, the Liberian people economy. Or Samuel Jackson, who was fired by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf for being so incompetent and destroy our financial sector. Today is the same Samuel Jackson that recommended an investment conference for the CDC administration. And they lied to you. These are the people who supported the takedown of the 2-week party. Now, there could have been issues. I get that. But since they orchestrated the murders of Liberians in that country, and they usher in something that created 14 years of civil war, Liberia's never been the same. Today, they're the same ones walking around, being part of political parties and telling all of you the same lies again. And then, yes, still, you can't listen. People can only lie to you if you accept it. People can only abuse you if you accept it. Politicians can continue to look down on you if you accept it. Look, the sooner you realize that your vote is the biggest weapon that you have against corrupt politicians, you will know your value and you will understand how you can change Liberia. The moment you understand the importance of voting, look, once you go in that voting booth, nobody's seeing who you're voting for. That vote is your protest. That vote is how you can take Liberia out of the mess that we see happening in that country. Your vote is your secret. It is your choice. It is the secret weapon that you can use to take down individuals who have waged war on our economy, have destroyed Liberia, have created an environment where our young girls and young boys are being raped. Your vote is your secret. Nobody will know what you are doing in that voting booth. This is your opportunity in 2023 to say no to the political system that have destroyed our people. I know some of you are thinking that, oh, that politician will vote for them. What happened? Let me tell you this. I want to be very honest with you about a man called Alexander Cummings. Do your own research. Yes, why you should vote Mr. Cummings in 2023 to lead Liberia. Everything that you've done up to the point, you have voted people into office who represent the bloody system. Mr. Cummings is not part of that destructive system. Mr. Cummings is not part of the system that makes your children to go to bed hungry at night. Mr. Cummings is not part of the political system that allow your daughters to be executed. The borders open, chest open, the organs on social media all around, but yet there's still no justice. Mr. Cummings is not part of a system that looks at a clear-cut murder of a child and say that it's tuberculosis. No, Mr. Cummings is never or has never been part of a destructive political system that got our people in the situation they're in today. No, 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 no. He represents something new, something different, something outside of the norms, something that gives Liberia an opportunity to experience leadership from a practical, analytical standpoint. We need leadership that inspires. We need a president that gives hope to young people. We need a man who understands how to create policies that can create an economic shift in that country. We need real change in Liberia. And so in 2023, don't listen to what somebody tells you. Go into the voting booth. It is your secret. It is your privacy. Nobody's paying attention because once you check off the name Alexander Cummings and drop it in the ballot box, nobody's questioning. Enjoy the pain now. But in 2023, send a loud message. Think about all the pain and suffering. You know, one thing that's not going to go away in 2023, up to 2023, up to the day that you're voting, the economic hardship in Liberia. You will have to make a decision in that voting booth. Do you prioritize a park versus the pain and suffering that you're going through? When you get out of the voting booth in 2023, after you've actually cast your ballot, are you leaving there and voting for George Weah knowing that you're going back to celebrate a park? Or you're leaving out of that booth knowing that you voted for somebody like Mr. Cummings and you're walking into a new direction where your children now can start seeing real change in that country. This is the decision that you must make. Hope over fear. The truth over illusion. Obsession of individuals versus reality and your own personal interest. For too long, you've actually prioritized the interests of other individuals. It is time for you to put your interests first. It is time for you to put your interests first. Some of you, I know, voted for George Weah because you were dazzled by his story of soccer excellence. Listen, I admire George Weah as a soccer player, a phenomenal African footballer. Nobody will ever take it away from him. Weah was and will always be a legend. We adore him because of his soccer prowess. But listen, Weah is not a presidential material. Weah is not the person that can create real change in that country. Weah does not have the necessary capabilities that are required to drive results for 5 billion people, as we're saying now. You have already rewarded him with a one term. You have already made him president. You don't need to give him leadership again. Your debt to Weah is over. You paid the debt in 2017, and you can walk away in 2023 knowing that you've done your part. Tell Weah today that in 2023, it is about the future of your children. It is about your interests. Some of you have voted for this government that told you they were going to bring change in your life. You know that you don't see any change. Some of you Sidisha know that you're struggling in that country. You're still the same way that you were. They throw you anointing ministries and stuff with no benefit, no job, no payment on time. But they just give you these false titles with no results on it. You cannot settle for that anymore. And you don't have to be guilty in 2023 because you've already paid the price. You've already given George Weah this leadership. You don't have to walk away with any regrets. You have the opportunity to pay Liberia back. If some of you say that this is the time for this person, no, 2023 is Liberia's time. It is about doing the right thing. It is about making amends. It is about apologizing to the 250,000 people who were slaughtered. It is about saying to Odell Sherman that we're sorry, yeah. It is about saying to Princess Cobra that we're sorry. 2023, give Liberia back to who it belongs to. A president, an individual in Alexander Cummings, Mr. Cummings, who can help create a different story, who can help to transform the lives of our people. A man who is man among great men, somebody who's actually excelled in his personal life. He has faced adversities, he has faced challenges, he has beaten them. He is the only one that can bring real change to Liberia. Before I go and I do my final close up, I want you to go back again to this video and then I'll come back here and close up.
As our captain informed you, so the airport in Monrovia is closed because there is no electricity at the moment. They are trying to fix it, but we had some fuel to do a few miles fly around. But until now, we don't have any contact with the airport of Monrovia, so we have decided to go back to Freetown. In Freetown, we will see if we can take some fuel and what the decision will be onwards. So if you have any questions, please do not ask our cabin crew at the moment. From the moment we have news, we will come back to you, because once landed, we need to organize fuel, we need to organize the flight again, so this takes a bit of time. So as soon as we have information, we will come back to you. And I know some of you have tomorrow morning a connecting flight out of Brussels. You may be worried about that also. So from the moment any decision taken in Freetown, we will come back to you with all the information needed. Thank you for that.
We don't have contact with the crew in Monrovia. We're running low on fuel. There's no light at the airport. It is dark. These are sounds, excerpts from an incident wherein a flight looking to land for Liberians and foreign nationals into the nation's airport could not today because of no electricity. They had to fly into Sierra Leone on reserve fuel. Imagine if that plane did not have extra fuel. Or imagine if something, it was during the bad weather and they were stuck. What was going to happen today? We have sacrificed the lives of 5 million people in that country because of our obsession with soccer, because of our obsession with individuals. We need to change. Look, whatever disagreements that you've had, this is time that you put Liberia first. Mr. Cummings is the only one that can transform that country because he understands what leadership is about. That leadership is not about him, it's about the Liberian people. It's not only about constructing parks, it's about putting into the economy things that are going to save lives, that's going to give jobs to our young people. That's what we need about leadership. Leaders giving our people a fighting chance, an opportunity to compete in the society. Putting up policies that's going to give our people job opportunities, fighting corruption. That's what the Cummings presidency will be all about. We want to transform the lives of 5 million people. And I know he can do that. Join us in this fight to change Liberia. Don't do it because you're only obsessed with individuals. Do it because you believe in your heart that Liberia needs change. And the only change comes from somebody who's not part of that system. His name is Alexander Cummings. My people, I want to tell you thank you for joining us on another session of Unapologetic. My name is Duke Estrada JJ. Please don't be a stranger. We're here a weekly 8:30 Eastern Time, Wednesday, every day, talking about the issues, educating our people, selling the Cummings gospel, making sure that your voices will be heard as well. We want you to tell your friends, tell your friends, your families to listen to our podcast because we come with substance. If you join us after this podcast ends, please do us a favor. Share it, invite other people, like our unapologetic page, go on YouTube and like us. We are here to 2023 to make sure that our people can get the change that they desire.
Don't touch that dial. This is your boy Duke Estrada JJ. This is another episode of Unapologetic. Hey, y'all, my people. Let's go.
Stab 'em, stab 'em. Alexander coming, stab 'em. He body explode. The leaders I love, the leaders I love, the ones I trust so much, they made a fool out of me. I've been praying to God every day, please give me a leader. He gave me a leader with love for his people. He gave me a leader who would deliver us from poverty. God look at Liberia with mercy from me high. He gave me my APC, now you want to in my way. Somebody give me chance. APC coming, somebody give me chance. I'm talking but talk and do, somebody give me chance. Talk and do, somebody give me chance. So coming but talk and do, somebody give me chance. For better education, somebody give me chance. For good health system, somebody give me chance. For good infrastructure, somebody give me chance. Oh, somebody give me chance. Oh, yeah. Way back, you are giving me corporate. Way back, you are giving me small money. Then you tell me, say, you are coming to face the road. And you tell me, say, you are coming to face the school. And you tell me, say, corruption was going to finish. But how come I never see you do nothing? I say, how come everything too hard? I've been praying to God every day, please give me a leader. Please give me a leader with love for his people. Please give me a leader who will deliver from poverty. God look at Liberia with mercy from his high. He gave me my APC, now you want to stay in my way. Please give me chance. I said get up for in my face, somebody give me chance. APC coming, somebody give me chance. Alexander B coming, somebody give me chance. He coming with his partner, somebody give me chance. Solonte, Jeremiah Solonte, somebody give me chance. Solonte, Jeremiah Solonte, somebody give me chance. Jamegu, Lafiegu, somebody give me chance. Jamegu, Lafiegu, somebody give me chance. We talking but talk and do, somebody give me chance. Talk and do, we talking but talk and do, somebody give me chance. Talk and do, we talking but talk and do, somebody give me chance. I said you jelly plenty talking, somebody give me chance. Somebody give me chance. Somebody give me chance. Oh, somebody give me chance.
I will repeat myself, and you will say, read my lips. Mr. Cummings is a very dishonest man that he cannot rule this nation. He's unfit. See, you know, CEO, the vice presidentship. See, I will. You see, I've been, you know, but listen, I know you were fortunate to grow up in America, and I cannot take that away from you. That's a good thing. But one of the good things to grow up in Liberia, when you grow up in Liberia, you will know.
You said Liberia, sir. No, which one? Because which one?
I'm a sucker fanatic, so I watch game. I go around and I see
sure now, my brother. We gotta go to the phone line.
See you.
Self-destruct sequence activated.
You know that you have a shortfall in the budget, then reduce the rest so those who are that not even working but making ends meet can buy. So when the shortfall, we cannot again support scarcity. You understand? So what needs to be done for all of us, because we have our responsibility as a citizen.
Give me chance. ABC coming, somebody give me chance. I'm talking the talk and do. Somebody give me chance. Talk and do. The coming the talk and do. Somebody give me chance. For a good education, somebody give me chance.